go over the 10 most common questions that they're going to ask you in 2026 for an Excel skill test. The first thing that we're going to talk about is data cleaning. So quite often you have the case not entered correctly when things are entered into Excel. So to fix this, you're going to use the proper function. So I'm going to go equals and then proper. I'm going to select that, and then I'm going to select the cell that's next to me, and I'm going to close the bracket and press enter, and there it puts the capitals where it should be, and everything all the way down. So now to click to the end of these, we're just going to click there, and it's going to do it for the whole list. The second thing we have is quite often is people put extra spaces in their data. So there's more than one space between the row space to the space right. So what we're going to do is we're going to use the trim function here. So we'll go equals and trim. And then we're going to put an opening bracket, and we'll select the cell there, and we're going to close the bracket and press enter. And there you go, the row to the right. Now every word has exactly one space in between it. The next thing that we're going to do is the XLOOKUP. People still use VLOOKUP, but XLOOKUP sounds like you're more up to date with everything that's going on. So let's find out let's pretend you can't see how small this table is. Let's see who has produced in C the 995. So what we're going to do is we're going to go equals and XLOOKUP. And we'll click that. Okay, what you're going to do is you're going to select the value that you want to find, and you're going to put a comma, and then you're going to find the lookup where which column you're going to look up this from. And so we're doing it from the C column, and then we put a comma, and then we want to find out the salesperson, and so that would be the H column. Now you could also say if it's not found, then put a 0. You can go match exact model and search model. And so we're going to end with this. And so then, of course, we're going to get the initials RSC. So that's how you use XLOOKUP. Now, absolute reference is something that people quite often don't know. Now, there is a nice feature on our Windows operating system where you can use the F4 button on your keyboard to put the absolute reference in. So what we're doing is we're multiplying, trying to figure out the tax of these items, and so we're multiplying every item on this list by the 5%. And so what we're going to do, because we're multiplying one number times the rest of the numbers, this is going to be an absolute reference value. So we're going to do an equals, and we're going to go select the value, and then we're going to go times, and then we're going to go the 5%. Now, we'd like this to be 5% for every one of them. So you either press F4 on your keyboard, and that puts dollar signs around the F and the 7, or if you don't have that feature on your keyboard, you're just going to have to put the dollar sign before the F and the dollar sign before the 7. Now let's press enter. And there we get the 125, and we double click down, and there you get your taxes configured out for the whole thing. So now let's go on to the next thing they commonly ask, and that topic we're going to talk about is slicers. So what we have here is a small table, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the insert menu, and I'm going to put a pivot table in here. and I would like to put it on a new worksheet, so I'm going to say OK. And so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to make this bigger so I can see it. And I would like to have put the salespeople in the row column, and I would like to put the amount that they sold in the sum of values. And so there we have. So now we have our little pivot table here, and now let's add in a slicer. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to the pivot table analyze, and we are going to go and insert slicer. And we would like to insert for the type. So there we go, and we put it in. And so now what we can do is we can make it see how much they've sold for each of these different types. So let's go access rental, or access, and that's it. Delivery, fuel, and you can see by the slicer it's easy to do, and you can easily get totals for each of these individual. So that's the slicer. So now let's talk about the ifs. And so with the ifs function, it's much clearer than a multiple nested if. So we're talking about equipment and the age here. And so what we're going to do is we want an if statement that says that if it's less than 10 years old, then it's new. If it's less than 25 years old, then it's moderate. And then if it's greater than 25, then it's just plain old. And so what we're going to do is we're going to go equals and ifs. And we're going to do this. And we're going to select the cell. And we're going to go, if it's less than 10 years, then we're going to put a comma, then we're going to put quotation marks, and we're going to say new. And then we put the next one down and we say, if it's less than 25, then it's moderate. So once again, we select the cell. If it's less than 25, then it's moderate. And then put a comma in there, and we'll select the cell one more time, and we'll say if it's greater than or equal to 25, then it's old. So we're going to go greater than or equal to 25, then we'll put a comma in, and we'll put old. And we're going to press enter. And so now we can drop this down. So the ifs is much more readable than a nested if. You could do this definitely with a nested if, but this is much more readable. And there you have all the different ages of the equipment. Okay, the other one that's common is the drop-down list. Now the drop-down list is a common question that is asked on tests. So what we're going to do is we are going to go to the data tab. We're going to go to data validation, and then we're going to select, list, and they've given you what they want on the list, so you can go approved, pending, separated by a comma, or rejected. And say OK. And then you go to the cell that you have selected and you have those. Now these can be dragged down. You grab the fill handle and you can drag it down, and So you can go get anywhere where you've dragged it down, you now have all of the items that you have in your drop down list. Okay, the next one, what we're going to talk about is if error. And so if you're handling division, so you can't divide by 0, so let's go equals this cell divided by this cell, and that works just fine until you get to the bottom and you have divided by 0, so it's an error. So now let's go back to the top here, and we're going to go around our formula. We're going to go if error, okay, so if error, then what we're going to do is we're going to go space here, and then if this produces an error, let's just put a 0 in here. And then let's go back down, and we should get everything the same except for with no error at the bottom. And there we go, there's a 0 at the bottom, and that's because we put if error around our formula. Okay. That people like to test is your conditional formatting of dates. So I have created this first date by going equals today, opening bracket, closing bracket, and then I've increased the days until the end of the month. I would like to conditionally format so that if the day is greater than 5 days after today, then I would like to change the color so that we're highlighting the days that are more than 5 days away. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select the cell, and I'm going to conditional formatting on the home tab, and I'm going to go to new rule, and then I'm going to select use a formula to determine. Okay, so now what I'm going to say is that if this cell, and now we're going to take off the $ for the absolute reference off this so that we're able to copy the formatting down. So if this is greater than, and I'm going to put in the today thing again, and then the opening bracket and the closing bracket plus 5 plus 5. So if it's greater than that, then I would like to change the format, and I'm going to fill it yellow. So these dates that are listed that are more than 5 days away from day will be background color is yellow. And so I'm going to go okay and okay. Now that hasn't changed this, but what we're going to do is we've got this formatting all nicely set up. We're going to go on the home tab, we're going to go to the format painter. And so now what we're going to do is we're going to paint all the way down the rest of these. And so there, now you can see that the days that are more than 5 days away from here are now turned yellow as a background color using conditional formatting. Okay, so now let's go down to the next question that's commonly asked, and that's the text join. Now, there is a concatenate function, but I am always using the ampersand. So if I want to go tools, and I want to go box, what you can do is go equals this ampersand this. and then you get toolbox. Now, if you want to put a space in between it, you would do the same thing. You could go equals, and you can go tools, ampersand, and then you would go quotation mark, space, quotation mark, and then you would put the ampersand again, and then select box, and then you have toolbox with a space in between. So that's how you could join text, and that's the easiest way that I can think of. And now let's go on to the count days function. So we have the 1st of January and the 19th of January. So there's two ways you can count days. Well, there's more than two ways, but we're going to do the two common, and we're going to go date difference, and we'll go equals, DATE, if, and then we're going to go start date, comma, end date. And then what we're going to do is we're going to put on the units that we'd like, and we want D for days. And we're going to close the bracket. And there you go. And now we have 18 days. Now, if you wanted to figure out how many net working days you have between there. Now, in most countries, the first day of the year is normally a holidays. So what we're going to do is go equals, and we're going to go net work days. And what we're going to do is do the start date and the end date. And now we're going to put down, now because we know that January 1st is normally a holiday, we're going to put in 1 there, because we know there's been one holiday there. And so the net work days is 13. So that's how you do date diff and net work days. Now, I've gone through a bunch of stuff here, and the other things I'd like to do is, so if we could, some things, creating a table is Control T, and conditional, and so if you go Control tilde, which is on my tips here, I've got it, the squiggly line that's above the tab on your keyboard. So let's go let's go Control tilde. Then you can see all the formulas that are on your list. Now, these are some common questions that are used on 226 for Excel exams. The whole point is that you need to practice these and get very, very quick, because if it takes you a long time, they're not going to be interested in you. So good luck with your endeavors, and please subscribe.